Okay, so this is if you're listening, which you probably are because nobody watches this on YouTube. This is our bonus episode, basically talking about Novak Djokovic. And Dan, have you got the clip, or are we just going to talk about it?
I think we should just talk about it. I think from what's happened, it was dramatised a little bit. I think that official needs to go to.
I was going to say she needs an Oscar.
Well, I was going to say, has she gone to acting school because she was very good at pretending she was choking or whatever it was that she was trying to do. I don't know, but it looked pretty good to me.
Exactly, it was a solid contact from what I remember. I'm actually just trying to search it now while we talk. But basically, the only thing I can speak to is I remember when I played lacrosse in uni, right? And I blocked a shot on my neck, and it looked like it was in the same place as she got hit. And lacrosse balls are much harder, but they're thrown at about the same speed that that tennis ball looked to have been hit. And I genuinely felt as though I couldn't breathe. So I have some sympathy for that woman, where I genuinely had a good 5-10 seconds of panic because I got hit there, and suddenly I just couldn't breathe. And so I was legitimately, I was freaking out for a good couple of seconds, like coughing up, and I did hunch over in the same way that she did.
Okay.
So I do have some sympathy for her, and this is an older woman I think we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so she's probably not going to be particularly. God, how do I put this? She may not be particularly strong or whatever, and it may affect her more that way. So that's the way I see it. But it doesn't look particularly dramatized.
Well, what I didn't understand was he clearly didn't mean for it to happen. He hit the ball in a way that he wasn't even looking. It's not like he was looking, aiming to get on her neck and then just hit it that way. And he ran over. You can see that he was very apologetic and he literally didn't mean it. But I found it quite bizarre that they just disqualified him, like on the spot.
Yeah, he seemed to do it out of frustration. And, here we go. Finally, I think I've got it. Just turning my volume down, and I'm waiting for ads to play. So this is great. But basically, they decided to disqualify him from the US Open, and I think that's a bit excessive, because when you see the images and everything, it looks as though he's just hitting the ball away in frustration, and it happens to hit her on the neck. Now, it's obviously not great, but it's obviously not intentional. So I have a lot of sympathy for Djokovic, but I do think that the way she reacted is legit. I do think that she could potentially have been, it could really have hurt her. Let me just look at it now. I've just seen the video now. So he realizes just as he hit it that it's heading straight for her, and you see the realization on his face of, oh shit, this is not going to end well. And she does, it did hurt her. But the fact that she stayed down for so long seemed a bit excessive. It's weird one.
Yeah, I'm not a big Djokovic fan, but I know that he didn't mean for that. Like any sort of person looking at that reaction, how his body language was, he didn't mean for that. So I don't think it was fair that he just got disqualified for it.
Exactly, because what did they exactly disqualify him for? Do you know?
I'm assuming on sporting behaviour or something along those lines.
It's tennis is completely different, because we're both you're more of a football fan than me, right? So tennis is more middle class, and so they don't really let their officials take much shit because they see that as being very unsportsmanlike. So they try to discourage that kind of behaviour. Although, even though tennis players do still go up and argue with the ref, they're not going to F and blind at them like football players do and football fans do. So, this is very big for tennis people, I guess, because this is such a it doesn't happen. Whereas in football, it happens every other week that people gather around the refs and they start swearing at them. So for a ref to get hit is probably massive for these people. It's like, oh my God, we need to make an example of him. You don't. I don't think you do. I think
No, because the whole culture within the whole sport is completely different to what it is like in football. Like you've just said, it's a middle class sport, not a working class sport where people will go and argue with the ref. Whereas it's not built in tennis. Like people will respect each other, and they will just accept what the decision of the referee or the umpire is.
Or they'll at least respect them to their face, and then they'll go away and they'll start bitching behind their back, which is the key difference there.
Yeah, which from a sporting media point of view, that's a win, isn't it? Because they're not portraying themselves as idiots running around and then being stupid role models to kids who are running around after teachers at their school and swearing at them for not making the decision and go their way. So I think it's very, very silly of what happened. And I'm not an official or anything like that, so I don't think my opinion really counts in this. But I think as a sport fan, as a tennis enthusiast, I would probably say every so often to watch the highlights. It's a bit strange. The whole situation was a bit strange.
Yeah, I think like most British people, we're tennis enthusiasts for about 2 or 3 weeks of the year when Wimbledon is on.
Wimbledon's on, yeah.
Exactly, because they show it on BBC, so it's free television for us, and you can watch, and it's on all day. They show every single match. You can watch any match, and that's the only time that British people care about Wimbledon, or when Andy Murray's doing well. That's when they care. Other than that,
we say British. I don't think most English people actually like Andy Murray, so it's
it's a weird one for sure. But this is a very short pod. Nice little couple of minutes chatting shit about tennis.
Yeah.
Thank you if you got to this point, and we'll see you in a couple of days for some more random bullshit.
Cheers, guys.